The European Super League will almost never succeed and will always be deemed as a failure in the eyes of football fans around the globe and in commentary and pundits throughout the European football associations. What's going on, guys? It is Ketch back with another video on the channel, and I hope you guys had a great Christmas and your Christmas festivities were filled with a lot of brilliant presents, celebrations, and all the exciting things that Christmas brings. I understand parts of the world are also going through tough times as well at this time, so my thoughts go out to them as well. But what's going on, guys? Get this Ketch back with another video on the channel, and I thought I'd do a different video today talking about the European Super League. Now, this was a prominent thing that was, well, prominent thing I guess is the wrong word, but a prominent concept that was brought to everyone's attentions in around middle of 2021, and it was initially met with a lot of backlash to the point where everyone associated with it dropped out, with the exception of a couple of notable teams. So to give you a bit more background on it, it was initially the brainchild of Florentino Perez, who is the current owner of Real Madrid. Alongside him there was also Barcelona, there was Juventus, Manchester United, Liverpool and Arsenal. So as you can see there, the three Premier League clubs all had American owners, and obviously there was Spain, Florentino Perez of Spain from Real Madrid, and Andrea Agnelli of Italy from Juventus. And now these five decided it was a good idea to launch a Super League effectively with only their teams and what they conceived as the top teams in the world. This was effectively brought up as a concept at the time to sort of recover from COVID, as COVID had sucked the finances out of a lot of these big teams. And so this idea was an idea of playing against each other week in, week out, to obviously, you know, get more gate revenue, but also increase their own bottom line and their finances in the back end. Unfortunately, what they didn't understand or realize is that this wasn't a very good idea at that point in time. They didn't take into consideration players' playing times. There'd be more games to play, which is not a good thing because that would leave players more prone to injury. But at the same time, it was seen as something that was, you know, very greedy on their behalf, and they weren't thinking of all the teams that play European competition or all the teams that play in Europe. So it's almost like a stuff you to all those teams that, you know, for example, say Real Sociedad or Villarreal or an Aston Villa or even like a Torino or Udinese in Italy. And it's just like, it was a big stuff you to effectively all those, you know, what we deem as the smaller teams of European football. And yeah, the big teams just sort of were like, hey, yeah, stuff you, we're going to do our own thing. But the reason I'm talking about the European Super League today is it's recently been brought up back in the media as a result of a decision by the European Court of Justice on the 21st of this month, so only 5 days ago, and I'll go through that ruling very, very shortly. Before I go into what that ruling means, it's also, you got to understand that after the initial backlash came from everyone, fans, pundits, everyone alike, UEFA, who currently run all the European competitions in Europe, so the Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League, were sort of blindsided. I think the UEFA president, Alexander Seferin, who was close friends with Andrea Agnelli, was, you know, almost felt betrayed by their decision to create this European Super League. And so UEFA did everything in their power to effectively block it from ever happening, and as a result of them trying to block it and the fan backlash, majority of the teams that signed up for the European Super League all backed out, with the exception of the two main Spain powerhouses in Barcelona and Real Madrid. Now, I did mention a European Court of Justice decision, which happened 5 days ago. Effectively, what that means is they issued a decision which apparently doesn't allow FIFA or UEFA in this instance to, you know, block or ban or decline the proposal of another league. So because of that, sort of brought the European Super League discussion back into the light, and effectively that European Court of Justice decision was just to make sure that the rules of football, European and world governing bodies were compatible with EU competition law, and the whole idea of the European Super League was flawed initially in its own right, and I don't think this decision will change much. But if you don't know or have been living under a rock the last couple of years, UEFA bring out their own set of changes to the Champions League and the Europa League, and I'm pretty sure the Europa Conference League as well, which effectively is turning the Champions League and those like competitions from a competition where it's normally a traditional group stage and then into a knockout round. And what they're going to do is they're going to remove the traditional group stage and replace it with the league format, which is exactly what the European Super League was proposed to do. Have teams face each other on a league format, and then the top teams will go into a knockout competition to determine whoever would be the final winner. Now, obviously, in this instance, the Champions League will still maintain its qualifying purposes, so there won't be any teams who are there that haven't qualified or haven't earned it. But this whole UEFA rule change on having groups removed and now a league format in place just sounds a bit silly and a bit money hungry. It's effectively they've decided to do this to create what they say is better competition and more entertainment for the fans, but in essence all they're doing is creating more money for their pocket and making more games for players, which is probably just going to lead to injuries in the long run. And now, in my mind, this sounds exactly like what the European Super League was originally going to be created for. So what in UEFA's changes to the competition for next season and beyond, why have they done this? What's the point of doing it? And why change something that's worked so successfully for many years and just change it on a whim because they feel like, it's something that needs to bring in more money? And that's the problem with football in the 21st century, or at least within the last sort of 10 years. It's gone from a thing where everyone sort of enjoyed the football because of the football to now where it's very money based, and transfer fees are through the roof, and clubs are just wanting, the richer clubs are just wanting more and more money because obviously they need to pay bills and players and whatnot to get better. And then you've got overseas investment as well to take into consideration. So you can see why UEFA have gone with this decision to move it to a league format. But as a traditionalist from a footballing stance, I much prefer the group stage than into the traditional knockout stages like we've seen in many years gone by. But those are my opinions. Everyone's got one. Whatever you guys think, I'd like to hear your opinions on this European Super League, and if you think it's ever going to amount to something, or will it just stay where it's been the last couple of years in the rear view mirror. I guess only time will tell in terms of what happens in that regard. But yeah, that has been the end of this video, guys. Please tell me what you think on the European Super League. Have a great Christmas and New Year if we don't speak again on this channel. And yeah, we'll leave it to it. Have a great one, guys. See ya. Bye.